Panzerkampfwagen 8 Maus. This weapon stands as one of history's most notorious military failures. Interestingly, the concept was devised by Adolf Hitler in 1943. His vision was to create the world's heaviest super tank, capable of annihilating Germany's enemies on the battlefield. And indeed, he was determined to see it constructed. The tank was massive and incredibly heavy, weighing 188 tons, equivalent to 37 adult elephants. This war beast measured 10 meters in length, nearly 4 meters in width, and stood taller than a house. The Germans enlisted Porsche, the luxury car manufacturer, to design the tank's engine. Talk about a fancy war weapon! This collaboration resulted in a high-end war machine. Despite the engine boasting an impressive 1,750 horsepower, the tank's top speed was a mere 15 miles per hour. Now, this tank's absurdity doesn't stop there. It featured a front armor thickness of 200 millimeters, akin to wearing a concrete wall. As for its weaponry, the initial plan was to equip it with a colossal 150 millimeter gun, but they eventually downsized to a 128 millimeter cannon, which hardly feels like a reduction. Here's where it gets amusing. The tank was too heavy for most bridges, so German engineers decided it should wade through the rivers instead. That's right, this tank was modified to drive underwater across riverbeds. It required a crew of 6 to operate. Because of its impractical size, the tank could only travel 118 miles before depleting its fuel, making it a significant drain on both manpower and resources. In the end, only 2 of these monsters were ever built, and by the time they were tested in late 1944, it was obvious that they were more of a burden than a tool. Today, the remains of these tanks sit in the Russian Tank Museum at Kubinka, serving as a perfect reminder that bigger isn't always better. The wind cannon. During World War II, the Germans developed the wind cannon, a unique weapon designed to blast enemies away with powerful air bursts. Resembling a massive metal arm, bent at the elbow and aimed skyward, this cannon functioned by mixing hydrogen and oxygen to create an explosive force. This explosion propelled a high-powered blast of compressed air and water vapor, akin to a gigantic blow dryer. The idea, though unconventional, was intriguing. To test its practicality, engineers directed the machine at a sturdy wooden board from a distance of 200 meters. Remarkably, it succeeded. The wood shattered. As expected, the German engineers felt really good about the weapon. But there was just one tiny problem they overlooked. Aircraft don't exactly sit still like wooden boards do. So without much thought, they installed the machine on a bridge over the Elbe River. The result? Absolutely nothing. Allied pilots flew through the air blasts, mistaking them for unusual turbulence. While it was an intriguing scientific experiment, as a weapon, it was a complete joke. Bat bombs. Here's an even bigger joke. Bat suicide bombers. Dr. Lytle S. Adams, a dentist from Pennsylvania, conceived this unusual idea during World War II as a means of avenging the Japanese attack on Pearl Harbor. Everyone, including Dr. Adams, knew that most of the buildings in Japan at the time were constructed from paper, bamboo, and other very flammable materials. And coupled with the doctor's observation of the behavior of bats around crevices, he developed the concept of the bat bomb. The plan was straightforward. Equip bats with bombs and release them over Japanese cities. As the bats dispersed and hid in building crevices, the timed explosives would ignite, unleashing widespread fires and chaos across Japan. Dr. Adams' idea, though unconventional, caught the attention of the American government. Despite the unusual concept of using flying mammals as offensive weapons, they saw potential in its effectiveness. In 1942, Adams presented his idea to the White House, and President Roosevelt approved its development. Consequently, bombs were designed to be lightweight enough for bats to carry. The idea seemed promising until testing time. During a trial at an auxiliary army base in Carlsbad, New Mexico, the bats, intended to be chilled into hibernation, unexpectedly awoke early. Disoriented, they attempted to escape. But where did these freedom-seeking explosive bats head to? Directly into the newly built military testing facility. They settled in the rafters, and as you might expect, the entire facility went up in flames. However, the challenges didn't stop there. During another test, they inadvertently ignited their own testing range in California. It became evident that managing hundreds of bomb-laden flying mammals was a dangerous and daunting task. Interestingly, the project was surprisingly extended until 1944, with costs reaching $2 million. The American government experimented with various bat species, bomb designs, and even developed specialized bat carrying cases. In 1944, these bat suicide bombers were ultimately deployed over Japan. The initial efforts caused some damage, but it didn't match the investment made to bring the idea to life. The government attempted improvements, but as they progressed, the Manhattan Project neared completion, prioritizing the atomic bomb. Turns out, with the emergence of atomic bombs, bat bombs wouldn't be needed anymore. Hey, learning about weapons that flop through history might be fun, but no one wants their finances to flop. It might be time to consider boosting your finances. That's why we're excited to introduce our partner, Course Careers. Are you looking to change or advance your career seamlessly? Sign up with Course Careers today. It features courses in IT, accounting, data analytics, software development, and more. Taught by experts in each respective field. No degree required. They also assist with job hunting to help you land the best positions. Simply click on the link in the description to get started today. The best part, they offer free mini courses to help you determine if the career and course are the right fit for you. Now let's head back to the video. The Hafner Rotobuggy. Have you ever imagined flying cars? You're not alone. However, expert British engineers took it a step further. They turned that vision into a reality. The Second World War was a period of significant technological advancement and a race for global innovation supremacy. During this time, the British embarked on an ambitious project to create an airborne car-rotorcraft hybrid. The concept was straightforward. Transform a standard Willys MB Jeep by attaching rotor blades on top and adding a tail with fins, essentially creating a flying car. Remarkably, this very bold idea was brought to life. Like any experiment, testing was essential. Initially, they attached it to a Bentley to evaluate its road capabilities. After making improvements for enhanced stability, they connected it to a Whitney bomber plane and towed it into the air. The Rotobuggy impressively took flight, reaching airspeeds of 70 miles per hour. However, the dual role of driving the Jeep on the ground and piloting the rotorcraft in the air proved challenging for the driver-pilot. Additionally, the emergence of gliders capable of transporting Jeeps reduced the demand for a Rotobuggy. A year after the Rotobuggy's development, gliders were designed robust enough to transport Jeeps without converting them into flying machines. Consequently, the concept of a flying Jeep lost its appeal. The project was eventually shelved, and the vision of a helicopter Jeep hybrid was abandoned. The Rotobuggy, while innovative, is often seen as a mixed success. It demonstrated that with enough determination, almost anything can be made to fly. However, if a machine fails to fulfill its intended purpose, it ultimately falls short of success. The Panjandrum. Here's a look at one of the most ridiculous war weapons ever created by the British Army during World War II. This weapon featured two enormous wooden wheels, each towering at 10 feet, linked by a colossal drum filled with explosives. Adding to its peculiarity, it was propelled by 70 rockets affixed to the wheels. The initial test in 1943 began with promise, as the Panjandrum rolled forward majestically for about 10 seconds before disaster struck. A wheel fell off. Undeterred, the engineers returned to the drawing board, preparing the weapon for another trial. Once more, things went awry. This time, the rockets detached mid-roll, transforming into fiery projectiles that sent the observing officials scrambling for cover behind sand dunes. The British Army was literally being chased by their own weapon. Undeterred, they again regrouped and conducted another test the following year, this time adding steel stabilizing cables between the wheels. However, the Panjandrum still wasn't ready for the war front. It began rolling, gained speed, and ultimately veered off course. Its movement was so vigorous and uncoordinated that it broke apart, sending rockets flying in every direction. The chaos prompted the watching crowd, including several admirals there to witness the breakthrough weapon, to flee for their lives. As anticipated, this test marked the grand finale. The weapon developers conceded defeat, leading to the official cancellation of the Panjandrum. Today, the Panjandrum is remembered fondly as Britain's most spectacular weapons failure, a title it won fair and square by being both spectacularly unsuccessful and highly entertaining. That's a wrap on the bizarre weapons of war that didn't quite hit the mark. Which one intrigued you the most? Share your thoughts in the comments below. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like and subscribe to our channel for more fascinating content. See you in the next one.